Hit it.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the edition of ATL Prime Sports. Todd Corder here with you in the ATL, along with JJ on the other side of the ATL. And then Wayne, our producer in Memphis. You can catch the show. You can catch our show replay on Twitter. You can also find us on Twitter at ATL Prime Sports. Myself at Corder Todd. JJ at JJ Get You One. And Wayne at RWY Junior. And guys, you can always ask us a question on Twitter. We'll be glad to respond to you anytime. I'm really looking forward to this special edition of ATL Prime Sports. It's for Alex Trebek, a great show host of Jeopardy. Passed away yesterday at the age of 80. And we'll start it off by saying, JJ, who is ATL Prime Sports? What are we?
The best podcast out there.
Right.
What's your answer, Wayne?
The most fun podcast out there.
All right. And hopefully it's an informative podcast out there. We focus on the Southeast and Atlanta and beyond in the United States. But we focus on Atlanta first. We expand it to the Southeast. And then we go to the rest of this great nation. All right, Wayne, take it away. Let's go ahead and we'll have Dave Cohen on here at 8:20 to talk Panther Talk. We'll give him a little Jeopardy edition of Panther Talk.
Right.
And we'll have our pick six at the end of the show. Go ahead, Wayne. Take over, man. You're the question guy today.
We're doing a little bit of a Jeopardy Alex Trebek tribute thing here, but I want to say that I am nowhere near the level of Alex Trebek. So instead of doing a answer and then you'll give me the
before we get going, I did want to say a little something. It is Masters Week. It's a new tradition. So a new Jeopardy question should be, what is a tradition like any other? A November Masters. Guys, next week's the NBA draft. I mean, Antonio Brown has already messed up another NFL franchise. I'm just kidding.
Who's the biggest knucklehead in the NFL? There's another one.
How's everybody doing?
Well, I'm doing pretty good.
Doing great, man. Let's go. Let's rip into it.
Yeah, well, listen. Instead of doing like Alex did, we're gonna do the questions and then y'all give the answers instead of the Jeopardy way where I give the answer and y'all give the question. So here we go. First, we'll start with the NFL. Who are the Atlanta Falcons, Todd?
And a team that is learning how to finish.
All right, JJ.
Hey, they're a 3-6 team who just released a former first rounder and are playing better under their interim head coach. That's the Atlanta Falcons.
Who did they release, Wayne?
I didn't keep up with it, man.
Oh, JJ, you know who they released.
Answer is Tack McKinley, their first-round pick defensive end that was supposed to be a big shot. Yeah. Remember, he tweeted the other week that he was unhappy that he didn't get traded. Well, this is probably the consequence from that. The Falcons were done with him.
Your consequences for your behavior.
All right.
Yep. And the Atlanta Falcons are a team that if they can win out, they can potentially make the playoffs. That's a big if.
All right. Next one. Who is Raheem Morris? Todd, you go ahead.
A coach that has inspired the Falcons to a 3-1 start thus far.
Yep, JJ.
All right, Wayne, we'll get your opinion last, but certainly not least. I'm going to tell you he's a former he's the former head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, current interim coach for the Atlanta Falcons, hasn't had much success in the NFL. Maybe this is his best shot with a good quarterback. That is Raheem Morris.
Well, I say he's a highly qualified substitute coach. We're going to have to wait and see if he gets the job or not. All right, now we're going to get into something that has multiple answers here. Who are the young wide receivers who stepped up for the Falcons this season?
I'll name one, Brandon Powell. You name another one, JJ.
Well, it's going to have to be Olamide Zaccheaus. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 103 yards on Sunday. He had 4 first downs, a touchdown. Just a very, very much impactful player. He is really stepping in since Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley has been in and out with injuries all season. So Olamide Zaccheaus, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
You pronounced it correctly, and Brandon Powell was much easier.
Yeah. Well, you know, I kind of had my eyes on Hayden Hurst. I know he hadn't played very much, But another one, he's not a wide receiver, but he really has made an impact. Is Russell Gage? Is that his name?
Correct. He has. It's another excellent name, Wayne.
Yeah, not a wide receiver though. Tight end. So
you know what though, Hayden Hurst to me, if you ask the question, who's Hayden Hurst? He's the Atlanta Falcons' best offseason acquisition by far.
Right. All right. Next one up is who is the best team in the NFL? Todd, I think I know what you're going to say.
I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers. JJ.
What do you say, JJ?
Pittsburgh Steelers, unbeaten.
It's
no sense in going in any other direction. The Pittsburgh Steelers are your best team in the NFL.
Yeah, well, this is going to hurt my dad's feeling, but I'm with both of you. Steelers seem to be the best team. You can't go against them.
You could follow up that question: who has the best defense in the NFL? Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right now, next one is who is the
Steelers? But the new answer is the Atlanta Falcons. No, I'm just kidding.
Now the flip side of that coin is who is the worst team in the NFL? Todd.
The New York Jets.
All right.
Well, if you asked me at 0-5, I would have said the Atlanta Falcons. But now it's week what? What are we in 10 going in here? 10 on the season. It's got to be the New York Jets. They're struggling. They're struggling for the world to see on Monday Night Football this week.
Oh, that's right. To play the Patriots tonight.
All right. Well, you know, this is going to hurt my friend down in Jacksonville, K-Town Chris, but I'm going to have to face Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. What's your next question, pal?
Next one is who makes the playoffs in the NFC?
NFC. Well, that's an interesting question. We'll say 7 teams right now, but it could be 8. I'll go with Green Bay, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, the Rams, and the Cardinals. Is that 6? I got one more to go, don't I? Is that 6? Did I do 6? I apologize. The 7th one would be the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, you're not going to say Tampa Brady.
I did say Tampa Bay.
I didn't hear you say Tampa.
That's all right. Go ahead. What's your 6, 7?
My 7 is Seattle, of course, Green Bay.
Yeah, I meant Seattle. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Saints, Eagles, Cardinals, Rams, Buccaneers.
Same as me.
Well, you know what?
What'd you, Wayne?
Well, I didn't.
What you got?
I didn't pick 7. I just picked the 3 that I am certain are definitely going to get in.
Who's
and
that?
That would be Seattle, Green Bay, and the New Orleans Saints.
I would say the Philadelphia Eagles are a pretty good shot in the East, man. Second place is 2-7.
I think they're kind of iffy, but that's
still got a shot now, so hold your horses. Just kidding.
Who?
The Eagles are going to get it. I seriously, though, to expand on this question, I think the Cardinals have an extraordinary chance to win some games in the playoffs this year. Kyler Murray proved me wrong. I did not think he would be the asset that he is at the quarterback position. And Cliff Kingsbury, wow, an unbelievable job as a Cardinals head coach.
All 4 of them teams can make the playoffs in that division. Potentially. Except for San Francisco, baby, but I said them all. I'm having fun here.
Yeah. All right.
Let it go, Wayne. What's next?
Next one is who makes the playoffs in the AFC? That's the other conference, by the way.
Go ahead, JJ.
Well, you got to start off with the lack of the Patriots. So it's going to be the Bills, Steelers, we just talked about as the best team in the NFL, Titans, Chiefs. It's going to round out by the Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, and Indianapolis Colts. That's going to be your playoffs. I like what Baker.
Is that 7? Did you give 7 there?
7.
Yeah, you did. You did. All right. I've got the Bills.
The Colts.
I have the Steelers. I have the Chiefs, I have the Titans, and then I have the Miami Dolphins, I have the Ravens, and I have the Colts. I do not have the Browns. They're just an absolute, they'll find a way to screw up. I'll take the Dolphins and Tua.
I think without Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield's moving the ball around. Rashad Higgins is making plays. If they get Nick Chubb healthy by the end of the season, watch out. They could be a team to be reckoned with.
Could be.
All right. Well, once again, I only picked 3, and because I'm going with who's guaranteed you get in, and I've got Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and the Chiefs.
That's a pretty good guarantee.
Well, that's who I'm almost.
But if Ben Roethlisberger gets hurt and his knee was bothering him in the second half or right before halftime, he tweaked it against Dallas. If he gets hurt, Pittsburgh will squeak in the tournament, but they'll be out in round 1. There's no way they're going to win with Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll work something out with some other team once they get in. You know?
Yeah, go get the smiling Jameis Winston from New Orleans yesterday, who's one of the biggest knuckleheads in the NFL. You got to include Jameis in that, Antonio Brown. There's another question for you guys.
Yeah, well, I was surprised he didn't end up in Dallas the way that Dallas likes to pick him, but that's a whole nother aspect of joking around. All right, Nate, do you want to get into the college football Jeopardy, or do you want to do
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it then. I'm going to skip the one on Georgia State because I want Dave to answer that one with us.
Right.
All right, college football. Who are the top 4 teams in college football right now? Todd.
JJ. Oh, you want me to answer that one first?
Go ahead.
Well, look, you got to base it on a body of work. There's no question. Alabama. I would say Notre Dame. Ohio State's only played 3 games, but I got to give it to them, and then I got to give it to Cincinnati.
Okay.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Have you seen them play?
Yeah,
you got a great defense.
Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State, period.
What did you say? Well, Clemson lost. I know. You know what?
Clemson and Ohio State.
Yeah, I know. I'm just telling you right now, Clemson's defense is not as good as Cincinnati's, based on what I've seen. But then again, Clemson's played tougher opponents. But I'll tell you what, Cincinnati's pretty darn good, man.
I think the ACC is a lot better than we're making it seem.
After Clemson and Notre Dame, who is there?
Well, you got Boston College, North Carolina, who's making noise here. They're up and coming.
North Carolina got beat by Florida State.
Golly,
it's a conference that goes over. It doesn't matter.
Well,
I'm just having fun with you, man.
Alabama, but we're playing woulda, shoulda, couldas there, and which you don't normally do. So it throws me off there that you're doing that. But no,
I thought I'd mess you up. This is Jeopardy here, man. Wait, what's next?
Oh, well, let me see.
You got to answer them. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna completely leave out the ACC, and I'm gonna say it's Alabama, Cincinnati, Ohio State, and Florida. If you're talking right now, I'm saying Florida's in there.
Okay. What you did there, Wayne, I really enjoy the right now. But for me, that was one of the best darn football games you've seen. Double overtime, lots of points. Notre Dame and Clemson are 2 of the best football teams in the country. You can't take it away from them because they were down Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence had nothing to do with why they lost that game. Their defense gave it up.
We're probably putting Florida in there, Wayne, if Trevor Lawrence and Clemson are playing together and they win that game. It's probably Florida instead of Notre Dame.
You know what, JJ? I'm telling you, if Trevor Lawrence played on Saturday, they still lost. DJ threw for over 450 yards. He was fabulous as a freshman. Their defense was awful, man.
As a leader on the field, Trevor Lawrence makes such a difference. In college football, that makes a huge difference. When your leader goes down and he's on the sidelines, sure, but he still really couldn't be around the team because he was COVID positive. I mean, he was on the sidelines, but he was in the back if you saw him.
He was not COVID positive on the sidelines. The only reason he couldn't play was because he didn't get his cardiac test on before the game, or he would have been able to play.
It's part of the COVID protocol.
It is part of the COVID protocol, but he wasn't COVID positive during that game on the sidelines. He was negative.
Exactly, but I'm saying part of the COVID protocol from a positive test, that's a tongue twister to say, him sitting on the back of the sideline. So to me, Trevor Lawrence, we all know, is probably – he may still win the Heisman despite missing 2 games. Who knows? But I doubt it. But he was that impactful to me. I think Clemson is one of the better teams in the nation. Give me Trevor Lawrence. Give me Notre Dame, both in my top 4 right now. You know, Florida right there with Texas A&M. You know, they lost to Texas A&M. Florida lost. The effect Alabama beat A&M. So 2 good teams. Georgia lost to 2 good teams. You know, a lot of people would consider Georgia up there, right along the right in the top 10 at the top of it because of the SEC.
No,
but they're
not now. No, they're not in the top 10. No, not now.
Sure.
They're in the top 15, but not in the top 10. Georgia has no quarterback.
And I think with the SEC schedule, you could arguably put them in the top 10. And I don't think anybody this year would give you too much crap, for lack of a better term, because of
they're not a top 10 team right now. Without that, they don't have a quarterback. Sorry. Wayne, what's the next question?
All right, next one. Now, this kind of fits into our little discussion here because I know there's a lot of teams that feel slighted. What is college football playoff privilege?
What is college football's playoff privilege? It's teams that get an extra mulligan that shouldn't, but others do not. For example, Clemson's going to get an extra mulligan, and should they? That's up for debate. A team like Cincinnati goes undefeated. That's not fair to them, but that's what college playoff privilege is. That's why we need to expand the playoff. What is it for you, JJ?
I think it's playing the Power 5 conferences, period. Just like you said, you get that basically like a mulligan if you play in the Power 5. You can lose again.
Not all teams. Only 4 teams get a mulligan right now.
Finish. Please let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the Power 5, in the normal circumstances, if your conference is pretty good, you usually have a mulligan. We've seen it in the past with Oregon. We've seen it in the past with LSU. Well, they were undefeated, but Georgia. You've just seen it. You've seen loss, bounce back in the conference title. So just like you said, I'm pretty much agreeing with you. But I think across the Power 5 in general, you get playoff privilege because if you win your conference, you're going to be considered over most of these teams. And that's
I don't think anybody in the Pac-12 has got playoff privilege right now. I do not. And you know what? Nobody in the Big 12 may have it neither. I think there are only a couple teams in the SEC have it. The ACC champ has it, and maybe a second-place person, and maybe Clemson. But that's it. Everybody else is not getting playoff privilege. Not even Ohio State. Well, Ohio State maybe in the Big Ten, maybe not, but not this year with COVID. They slip up one game, they're out.
So you're telling me if Oregon doesn't go 7-0 and then
they're not going to play 7 games. Not in this environment, not this year. I know what you're saying overall, but I don't think anybody in the Pac-12 has playoff privilege. They surely didn't have it last year.
I disagree there because, I mean, if you're playing in this 2020 season, I agree with you. I don't think it's right to play as few games or as many as the SEC versus as few as the Pac-12. But you know what? They're going to be in contention, and they're a good football team. They have playoff prestige. They've been there before. We'll see if they can knock on the door again and get there in another undefeated season.
They're going to have to play at least 5-6 games to even get considered. In this environment right now, that's a big if.
What if Ohio – because the Big Ten's got an outbreak going on right now. What if
I know.
What's the threshold? If they play 4 games, if the Big Ten cuts their –
might not be enough.
But the playoff committee will decide that, so we don't know.
They will decide it. We'll see. You're right. It's a lot up in the air. I do agree with that.
Power 5 gives you playoff privilege because if you're Cincinnati, like you said, you got to go undefeated.
You got to get help when you go undefeated.
Help. But if you go undefeated in a Power 5, you're most likely in. That's playoff privilege.
We'll find out. Dave, what's the next one? Wayne, what's the next one? Dave's coming up. Dave Cohen, the voice of the Georgia State Panthers here on ATL Prime Sports. Please get that nasty losing shirt down. Go ahead.
Playoffs.
Lord.
All right.
Get out of here.
December 22nd, folks. Trae Young, Clint Capella, the Atlanta Hawks make the playoffs this year.
Wake me up when it happens. Never. Go ahead. Next.
All right. Who are the Georgia Bulldogs?
A team that has no quarterback and got boat raced by Florida and Alabama.
Ditto. A talented team that lacks a quarterback. The Dogs are 4-2 and will most likely not go to the SEC championship game.
They're done.
Since 2017.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
All right.
At all. You had a three-game SEC appearance streak. That's pretty impressive. You could have.
It is very impressive.
I wouldn't say
it is.
I'd say Florida stepped up to the table and beat a Georgia team, which they should have. Georgia didn't have a full deck of cards, neither did Florida, not making excuses, but Florida took the advantage and beat them out. So it's a down year. Hey, we'll see what happens for the Dogs.
Hey, man, we're supposed to answer these in one sentence. Go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, we got plenty.
All right. Well, I would say the Georgia Bulldogs are floundering. That's what I would say.
A flounder?
Floundering.
Yeah.
Floundering, as he said. Not flounder. Floundering.
Animal House reference?
Yeah.
An Animal House reference. I know JJ's hurting in the gut right now. All right, gentlemen. Dave Cohen is coming on to join us here on ATL Prime Sports. Dave Cohen, the voice of the Georgia State Panthers. Dave, welcome to the show. We've got a big surprise for you today. You want to hear what it is?
Well, let me guess. You're going to wear a hat for one of the schools that you attended.
Nope. I have the shirt of the school I attended. We've got a better surprise for you, Dave. We're going to play. We're playing Alex Trebek Jeopardy ATL Prime Sports Edition. We're going to ask you questions. You can answer in more than one sentence if you like, because your knowledge of Georgia State is really vast. But we have some interesting questions, and we may ask you some of the questions we asked each other earlier in the show, and then you can come up with your one-sentence answer for those.
Okay.
Are you ready? I'm going to go ahead and go with the first question, Jay. I'm going to bring it right out. Who has the best chance at a BCS Bowl in the Sunbelt?
Right now, I would say Coastal Carolina.
Now, that's the one question. Wow, that was quick. I thought you were going to expand. I like it. So you're playing Jeopardy very well. Let me do the next one. Let's do this one. Who are the ranked teams in the Sunbelt Conference?
Right now, Coastal Carolina. I think App State and Louisiana Lafayette are receiving votes, but Coastal's the only one that's they were 15 last week. I didn't see what they were this week.
I saw the Raging Cajuns at 25.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yep.
JJ, go ahead for Dave, man.
Dave Cohen right here on ATL Prime Sports, our Jeopardy edition. Who are the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers?
What do you mean, who are they?
What is a Chanticleer?
Nobody's ever heard of them. Here they come out. They're having an undefeated season in the Sunbelt. Who are they? Is this a team that's to be reckoned with for years to come?
Well, you got the Gamecocks over in Columbia. I've heard them referred to as the Beach Chickens over in Conway.
Yeah.
Since they're about 15 minutes from Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
You know, listen, what they've put together, I was just talking to somebody earlier today about it. When you look at what Liberty is doing and what Coastal Carolina is doing, neither of those schools have been full-fledged FBS very long. Definitely not as long as Georgia State has, and we're only in our 11th season of being having football, and 6 or 7 of being an FBS program. So, you know, you take your hat off to what those two programs. Hugh Freeze is what he's doing up at Liberty. They beat Virginia Tech, as you know, on Saturday. Great win for them. And Coastal Carolina, of course, they're still undefeated. So, you know, they're having the kind of seasons that Georgia State has been working up to being able to have those kind of seasons. It's a problem that we will face, and it will always be a problem until our program is at that level. And we talk about winning a Sunbelt Conference championship. And I know we're playing Jeopardy here, but here's a little bit of the explanation on why it's of a concern, is because if you look at the Sunbelt Conference Eastern Division, it's Appalachian State, it's Troy, it's Coastal Carolina, it's Georgia Southern, and it's Georgia State.
Yeah.
Well, Appalachian State has been really good pretty much since they walked in the door to the Sun Belt. We're now seeing what Coastal Carolina is capable of doing. And I don't see them all of a sudden dropping off and being 0-7 to start the season, next year. They're going to be good once they've, got that program on solid ground, which it sounds like they do. Troy is always pretty good. And Georgia Southern is Georgia Southern, which, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, that's our big rivalry game. I've seen us lose that game bad. I've seen us win that game really good. I've seen us win that game when we weren't very good. So, that game could be won or lost no matter what your regular season record is. But to me, the challenge in the Sunbelt East is going to be there every single year. And App State and Coastal Carolina right now, along with Louisiana Lafayette, they're fighting to play King of the Hill.
Dave, I'll ask you one more question. It's 2020's pandemic football. What is bowl eligibility this year? Have you heard anything, any rumors about what the inside, if there's a cutoff, 4, 5, 6 wins, what's it going to be? What is bowl eligibility?
I think a lot of whatever bowls play are obviously going to be looking at which schools can bring the most fans, because everybody's looking obviously to capture as many dollars that they can. In the Sun Belt, normally it's been 5 bowl bids. There have been 5 bowl bids for the 10 teams that are playing. Right now, obviously, Coastal Carolina's 1, Appalachian State is 1, Louisiana's going to take 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 5 this year. I don't know if it's 4. If it's 4, does that bowl bid come down to Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Troy, battling for that spot? Really our destiny, Georgia State's destiny, it's in their own hands, but it's a tough road to hoe because you got to play at Appalachian State this Saturday. It's never easy going up to the mountain to play those folks up there. They're very, very good at home. They're very, very good on the road, and we've never beaten them since they've come into the Sunbelt Conference. Then we're on the road at South Alabama on the 21st, and then we're at home to take on Georgia Southern. So our final 3 games are at Appy, at South Alabama, home with Georgia Southern. Would you say we got to win 2 of those?
Yeah.
No doubt.
At least to put yourself in position. Hypothetical, if there's only 4 Sunbelt teams to go to a bowl this year, who's that 4th team going to be? It's going to come down to Georgia Southern. They're 4-2. We're 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what South Alabama is right now, but nonetheless, the game is in Mobile. We're going to have to go down to Mobile and be able to win on the road, no matter what happens in Boone this coming Saturday.
Dave, are you traveling? Are you doing the road games? Are you traveling on the road this year? We never did ask you that.
Yeah, so far we have not. We do those games from what we call our virtual studio down at Center Park Credit Union Stadium.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's all right. Hopefully
some radios are traveling, some are not.
Okay. I understand. All right, let's play some more Jeopardy. Who excelled on offense for Georgia State in the 52-34 win over Louisiana Monroe?
Well, a number of players did. Cornelius Brown, the 4th, our starting quarterback, got named Sunbelt Conference Offensive Player of the Week. Destin Coates, who leads the Sunbelt Conference in rushing yards per game at 107, ran for 103. But I would go ahead and give the nod this week to Cornelius McCoy, who had been out the last couple of games with an injury. At the start of the season, we would call him our number 1 target. He would be our number 1 wide receiver. He was, what was he, 1st team or 2nd team all preseason Sunbelt Conference, but again, an injury sidelined him for a couple of 3 games. He came back and had 7 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 1 of 5 and 1 of 18 yards. So it was great to have him back in the field. And so even though Cornelius Brown got the Sunbelt honors, selfishly, I would give those honors to Cornelius McCoy because it's great to have him back on the field catching footballs for Georgia State. And it gives Cornelius Brown another really solid target if the ball's going to go in the air.
Yeah.
All right, we'll play another Jeopardy question, Dave. Who excelled on defense in Georgia State's win over Louisiana Monroe?
Well, that could go down to any number of guys. I mean, Antavius Lane, Blake Carroll. We had 6 sacks. Thomas Gore, another name that comes to mind. Again, 6 sacks total amongst the defensive unit. The thing about it is that, we ended up winning the football game. You know how I've always talked ad nauseum about getting that number down of points allowed per game?
Right.
So we score 52. 42 of those in the first half.
Wow.
But if there was not a problem, but a little bit of a concern, it's that Louisiana Monroe came in at 0-7. They left Atlanta 0-8, but they came into Atlanta averaging 13.6 points a game, and they scored 34.
Well,
so at the end of the day, I was happy walking out of that stadium with a win. I was happy getting back to 500. Georgia State's now 3-3. I was happy to have Cornelius Mccoy back in the field. I was happy the defensive unit came up with 6 sacks. My one concern would be if you're allowing 34 to an 0-8 team, that's what worries me about going to Boone.
Yeah.
That's what worries me about going to South Alabama. That's what worries me with Georgia Southern. It's just, you see, we're having to score 50-plus points to win a football game. And it seems like that's the story every week.
That's always the story with Memphis, too. They had a game this weekend that they should have won by a large margin and won by 1 point coming down to the last minute of the game against South Florida.
Yeah.
It just seems there's more points scored than ever in college football now with these spread offenses. But the team that can shut somebody down the best is going to win the championship. I still think it comes down to defense. And like you said, Dave, Georgia State, they have not been good on defense, very good at all this year.
No, the one positive out of it is if you're watching these games on TV,
they're exciting.
If you're listening to these games on the radio, man, you're seeing some good football. It's exciting football.
Sure.
But who doesn't want to sit and watch Georgia State and Arkansas State in a 59-52 shootout? Now, I'd rather Georgia State had the 59, but what I'm saying is from a viewership standpoint, they're exciting and fun games to watch.
Yeah.
Do you want to watch some people would rather watch a 1-0 pitcher's duel in baseball. Other people would rather watch a 10-9 game where guys are running around the bases every inning. It's just a personal preference.
Sure is. All right, Dave, I've got a good one for you. What is college football playoff privilege? We asked this earlier amongst ourselves. What is it to you?
College football playoff privilege?
Yes.
Well, it's funny you mention that because we may have read the same story. And that was Notre Dame's win over Clemson. While it's great for Notre Dame, and they use the word mulligan for Clemson, it would not that loss in double overtime will in no way keep Clemson, if they were to say win out, from being in the Final Four of the college football playoff for the national championship. And, we've talked about it before. You've heard my treehouse analogy. Listen, at the end of the day, honestly, at the end of the day, if you're sitting in that boardroom or you're on that Zoom call with national television, who do they really want to be on national television? They want Alabama. They want Ohio State.
Yeah.
They want Clemson. They want LSU, although LSU will probably wouldn't be there. But what I'm saying, they want Notre Dame. They want the household names because that's what people are going to watch. They don't want Coastal Carolina. They don't want Boise State. They don't want University of Central Florida. It's just, that's a little different than the NCAA tournament in basketball because you get your 68 teams, granted with the play-in and everything.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, who are your top 4 teams in college football right now then?
Coastal Carolina, App State, Louisiana Lafayette. No, I'm just kidding.
I like it.
Yeah. It's again. What happens is we're just drawn to the same teams in the same discussion.
Wayne and I have a surprise for you in our top 4.
Well, let me hear your top 4.
Mine was Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Cincinnati.
So that's another good point, and I think it may have been in that article. When it comes to crunch time and the committee, wherever they are, in person, in a boardroom, in a meeting room, on a Zoom call, will they have the guts to pull the trigger and let an American Athletic Conference team play for a national championship the way they did not let UCF play for a national championship a couple of years ago?
Dave, right now, Cincinnati's defense is better than Clemson's. I know they play different opponents, but I've seen each team play, and their defense is – Cincinnati's got a really good defense.
I know, but if you're in that room, you're on that Zoom call, are you gonna let them keep Clemson out when everybody says, okay, well, Clemson lost that game in double overtime without Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence played in that game, we don't know what would have happened.
Dave, my answer to that is Clemson lost not because Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing, because DJ was awesome. He threw for over 450 yards. Their defense gave up 47 points, and they got boat raced on the ground by Notre Dame.
Right. I'm just telling you how it's going to play out on Twitter, on Facebook. You know as well as I do, they're going to point to the fact that Trevor Lawrence wasn't there.
You're right. You're right, Dave. All right.
I'm with you on Cincinnati. I'd love to see an American Athletic Conference school because I consider them to be the Power Six.
We got about a minute left. Give us your time. Give us your Final Four.
My Final Four in college football, I guess it would be Ohio State. And boy, if you're over at Athens, does that just not keep you up at night with your quarterback situation over there that Fields is just tearing it up for Ohio State? That's the kind of thing that really would keep me up at night. I mean, I would never fall asleep at night watching that.
Oh, man, Dave, you just got one right in JJ's gut right now, man.
It's true. It's true. They were just so overloaded with quarterbacks, with Eason and with Fromm and with Fields. Nobody knew what Fields was going to become until they were able to get him in a situation like at Ohio State where they handed him the football and said, okay, here, the offense is yours, go play.
Correct.
Georgia was not in the position at the time. I don't blame Georgia.
Right.
Fromm led them to almost a national championship. How do you sit him the next year and hand it over to a freshman?
That's a great question.
In hindsight, it's easy to say it now. But if you're over in Athens in the locker room and in the coach's office and in those meetings, that's a really tough decision if you were to make that decision and tell Jake Fromm, well, thanks for almost winning a national championship, but we're handing the football over to this guy.
I think Kirby Smart made the right decision at the right time.
Sure.
Well said, Dave. Very well said. Because you even mentioned Jacob Eason. At the very minuscule window, they were all three there. Eason was on the way out. Fields was on the way in. You had Fromm there. It was just complete chaos in the quarterback room. You have that somewhat now. So it kind of is. It happened to Alabama. They lose a lot of quarterbacks. They go elsewhere. It just happens when you get these guys in recruiting. So you just got to smile and say, you wish you could have held on to them. But also, I don't know if Fields would have looked as good in a Georgia Bulldogs uniform as he does in an Ohio State Buckeyes uniform. That offense is a grip it, rip it, run it, throw it all over the field spread offense. Georgia's a pro-style offense. You're going to be under the center, handing the ball off to – well, now Zamir White, and then it would be I think he came in with Chubb at the beginning of his year, at the end of his year, and Stoney Michel. So that's what it would have been. So who knows if Fields would have had the same numbers as a Buckeye as he would as a Bulldogs. But well said, Dave. Very well said.
Right, but it's a good bet. I mean, he's a great athlete.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, if it doesn't matter who he's playing for, if he's on a good team with, decent receivers, decent running, he wasn't going to a program that wasn't going to be what we'll call loaded with decent talent.
Right. So who's your top four real quick, Dave? We got to go.
All right. Well, it's easy. You're going to go Alabama. You're going to go Notre Dame. You're right. I mean, I think Clemson will get in because my guess is that, barring a catastrophe, they're going to win out. And my fourth, I mean, I don't disagree with you about Cincinnati because I would love to see an American Athletic Conference school get in. I mean, who else is out there that realistically would have a shot to, to be in the conversation?
Maybe BYU.
Yeah, BYU, but, are they kind of in the same boat years ago that Boise State was in?
Yeah.
I mean,
they are. That's an interesting comparison.
Are they going to give them a serious look? I mean, is BYU UCF this year?
It's possible.
No.
It may be better. Zach Wilson's a really good player. He's fun.
He is that.
He's a really good player.
But if not Cincinnati, let's let Coastal Carolina and the Beach Chickens run the table in the Sunbelt and get them in.
It'd be a great story. It'd be a great story. That's why they need to expand the playoff, like you said before. They need to expand it. I agree with you. Dave, tell us where we can get the game this Saturday at App State.
Well, our flagship is 88.5 FM WRAS in Atlanta. We're streaming, TuneIn Radio, streaming online, GeorgiaStateSports.com. You can also download the Georgia State Athletics app. You can hear us live and in person there as well. And what are we on the air at 2 o'clock pregame, 2:30 kickoff.
We're going to check it out. It's Who is Dave Cohen? He's a voice of the Georgia State Panthers football, basketball, and baseball. Dave, thanks for joining us today, man. I really appreciate it.
As always, I appreciate it. You guys have a good rest of your evening.
All right. We'll talk to you next week. All right, gentlemen, let's go on and see ya. Let's go on. Wayne, go ahead and go back to the next Jeopardy question.
The next one was, who are the Florida Gators?
A team with one hell of a quarterback in Trask.
Yeah.
The Florida Gators are the team that beat the Georgia Bulldogs. Now,
the team that ripped your gut out.
They're the best team in the SEC, not named Alabama.
It's a good answer. What about you, Wayne?
I'm going to say they are the king of the cocktail party.
King of the cocktail party. That's a good answer, too. All right, that's the next one. Let's roll.
They're the one of the highest scoring teams in the country, over 42 points per game.
Yep.
Florida Gators are for real.
All right, Wayne, what's the next one? We got to roll.
All right, who are the Clemson Tigers?
A team that can't play very good defense at all. They got boat raced by Notre Dame on the ground.
The best team in college football when Trevor Lawrence is on the field.
That's up for debate now, isn't it? We'll do that for another show. What's your answer, Wayne?
I'm going to say they are the new quarterback college.
The new quarterback college. I love that answer. DJ was awesome on Saturday.
Best tonight.
He was awesome. All right, what's the next one?
All right, the next one is who are the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
A team that can run the football and they're hard-nosed on the defensive end.
The second best team in the ACC. Trevor Lawrence in the playoff, and well, basically a playoff game in the ACC championship. Yeah. Most likely, we think he'll get another shot. I'd like to see him with Trevor Lawrence on the field.
Yeah.
Well, right now Notre Dame they won the score by 47-4. I like your answer. What's your answer, Wayne?
I will say Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They are who we thought they were.
I like that. And the Corona Bros, 11,000 of them, ran on the field.
Oh, yeah.
And after the game, and everybody's freaking out, but you have thousands of people going to run around in Washington, D.C. and Atlanta and celebrate Biden's deal. What a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day. What's the next question?
All right, we're circling around to Todd's area now. Who are the Michigan Wolverines?
A sorry set of cornerbacks who can't cover anybody to grab and hold every week.
A solid program who cannot beat their rivals on a consistent basis.
That's another. Why don't you just say who it is? They can't beat Ohio State at all.
It's the Michigan Wolverines.
I'm gonna Wayne. What's your answer?
I say the Michigan Wolverines are on the hunt for a new coach.
Oh, let's go follow that one. Who is Jim Harbaugh? Wayne, go ahead, follow it up with it, and I'll let JJ go.
Possible future coach of the Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh,
Wayne, go ahead. I mean, JJ, go ahead.
Ooh, I like that, Wayne.
Yeah, we'll follow up with one, brother.
I'd say Michigan head coach for the rest of his life.
All right.
Wow. I say Michigan head coach through next season because $9 million tells me so.
Yeah. Well, that never stopped Tennessee from firing somebody.
That's true. That's an excellent one. Go ahead, JJ. I'm sorry.
I'll base it off of this. We interviewed John U. Bacon. You can go check it back out on old YouTube videos. He mentioned that they think Harbaugh's there for life. Why? Because of the way he runs the program. As long as he gets 10 wins, he can lose to State and Ohio State each and every year, and he may still keep his job. That's coming from John U. Bacon.
Yes, and you guys should check out his book too. It's an excellent one, no doubt about it. I just got it the other day. It is an excellent one.
All right, sticking in the Big Ten, we get who are the Indiana Hoosiers?
A team with a dynamic quarterback who gave Michigan fits and probably the only threat to beat Ohio State.
Yep. JJ.
Well, a team that is 3-0 but is yet to play Ohio State. That's the Indiana Hoosiers, and they play them in 2 weeks. We'll see who the big boys are.
Well, I'm going to say the Indiana Hoosiers have learned something from their basketball team, and they are on the rebound.
Hey, guys, let's talk about John Eubank books real quick. You know, he's had several of them. 3 and Out with Rich Rodriguez, The Great Halifax Explosion, 4th and Long, Fighting for College Football, Overtime, the one that I just got with the Michigan Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines at the crossroads of college football. I mean, he has just had so many Bo's lasting lessons when Bo Schembechler was a coach at Michigan. End zone Michigan football. I mean, this guy has done it all, and we really appreciate him coming on our show. I know you did too, JJ. All right, what's the next question, Wayne? Sorry.
Well, before we go on, it'd be interesting to get Doug Cohen back on the show, former Michigan Wolverine player.
Yes, I'll have to hit him up and have him come on sometime. No doubt about it. All right, what's the next question?
Well, this one I've kind of already answered, but who is on the head coaching hot seat in college football? Who's fixing
JJ,
that?
go first. I want to hear your first name.
I'll take this one right off the bat. It's in the SEC. It happens to be in the SEC East. It happens to be in a city called Columbia, South Carolina.
Muschamp. He doesn't have much to work with, but you might be right.
Unfortunately, it's Will Muschamp. I personally think it's very hard to win at South Carolina. Lou Holtz, Steve Spurrier proved that. Steve Spurrier's done the best. I think Will Muschamp is a great X's and O's coach, but it's not about X's and O's. It's about Jimmy's and Joe's, and he doesn't get many of them.
Yeah.
Put yours, Wayne. Go ahead.
Well, mine is Harbaugh. I think he's on the hot seat if they're willing to pay him out. But going back to Muschamp and South Carolina, this is kind of a historical fact, but South Carolina was not always in the SEC. And at one time, they were in a conference called the Metro Conference, and they kind of excelled in that conference in football. That was a conference that had Memphis, Cincinnati, Louisville, Florida State, and South Carolina in it.
Yep.
You know what? That's interesting you said that, Wayne.
Because they may just be in the wrong conference.
Hey,
I'll give mine. Mine's Tom Herman, the University of Texas. They need a conference title in a bad way. They don't accept mediocre seasons in Texas.
Very good.
So mine would be Tom Herman. All right, what's next?
Well, it looks like next we're going straight to our pick six.
Is that what we got left? Are we all done with our questions?
We are all done with our questions.
All right, let's do the pick six.
All right. First one up is going to be NCAA. We're starting with number 12, Georgia at Missouri, and they've got Georgia at 11.5 to win.
11.5 at Missouri? Man, that is a tough number.
Yeah.
Wow, the way Georgia plays offense, man, 11.5.
I'll help you out.
I think they'll get it, but barely.
I think they'll get it. Here's why. There's arguably a healthy JT Daniels finally at practice this week. I don't know if –
You think he's playing quarterback?
This is a big rumor, and again, it's coming from a guy that told me Kirby Smart was getting the job the night before. He thinks there's a big possibility JT Daniels could be your starting quarterback Saturday. If that's the case and he's healthy and he can really run this offense, Georgia will cover that spread. And it may give them a boost and a shot in the arm the rest of the season. Who knows? They should win the rest of their games. I like the Dogs to cover that spread.
We got to get through these quickly, fellas. We got about 4 minutes. Go, Wayne.
Well, I'm going to shock everybody, and I'm going to say that Missouri wins by a field goal.
Hey,
All right, what's the next one, Wayne?
Next one is Arkansas at number 6 Florida, and they got Florida 17.5. I'm going to go ahead and say that Florida is going to cover that spread.
I think they're going to cover it too. Arkansas's head coach has got COVID. Who knows if the game will even happen now?
Exactly. Who knows if the game will even happen? I got Florida Gators.
I got it covered. What's the next one, Wayne?
Number 1 Alabama at LSU. Then they got Bama at 28 points. And
that game is also in jeopardy. LSU players have COVID. If they play it, I think Alabama remembers last year. I think they tapped to them.
Yeah, I think that they've been pointing at this game almost the whole year, and so I think they're going to cover. JJ,
what about you, JJ?
I think if LSU's healthy enough to play, I think they'll cover the game. I think a rivalry game, maybe they'll lose by 27.
All right. I like the answer, man. You're making me laugh tonight. All right, what's the next one?
Next one is the down in the dirt game.
The LSU
dirt.
Yeah. Down in the dirt game. We got Pittsburgh at Georgia Tech, and they've got Pittsburgh 6.5. I say Pittsburgh wins, but I don't think they're going to cover.
I say Pittsburgh wins and they cover.
Oh,
I'll take Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech's pretty bad. Figured we'd go back on local. Georgia Tech coming off a tough loss last week. I'll take Pittsburgh.
All right.
We got 2 NFL games to go. Let's roll.
NFL games. The Colts at the Titans. Tennessee by 2. I'm picking the Titans to cover.
Me too. It's on Thursday Night Football in Tennessee.
Depends on Gaskowski.
Thursday night football game. Can't pick against Hot Rod. Going on the Indianapolis Colts. No Falcons games this weekend. Taking Hot Rod and the Colts. Last second field goal. Hot Rod.
All right. And the last game is the Bills at the Cardinals. Somebody's got Arizona at 2, and I think that's ridiculous. I think Buffalo wins that game.
I am with Vegas on this. I'm going to go with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. It's tough to travel all the way across the country and play well. I think the Cardinals rebound off of a tough loss last week. Cardinals.
It pains me, but I have to agree with JJ. Buffalo's defense is not really good. So I think the Cardinals will win. Hey, guys, can we – hey – I tell you what, we got about a minute left. Let's look at any other games. Really, it's kind of a dud this week for the NFL.
It's not many ranked matchups in college football. I tried to scrape the best for your pick 6 pleasure, folks. Let's go ahead and wrap this show.
Yeah, done. There, all the rest of them, blah.
Yeah,
all right, guys. I really enjoyed this evening. Thanks a lot. This was our special ATL Prime Sports Alex Trebek Jeopardy edition. I hope you join it. JJ, get that sorry-looking 4-2 Titleist Georgia Bulldogs, no quarterback throwing hat out of my face. I'm just messing with you, man.
Are recent national golf champions on the men's side.
Hey, man, I can't say any worse. Look at these pathetic guys. They just got torched by the Hoosiers.
That's the key. Focus on the title list. Shoot them straight. The legend has it takes a lot of balls to golf the way I do. Tiger Woods, previous champion. Bubba Watson, it's your time. You're a Bulldog. Get your 3rd jacket. Let's go play some golf with no patrons, no fans. Fall colors. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, well, I've also got to mention that Memphis plays Navy at Navy. Maybe we're going to have to see how that COVID protocol goes.
All right, I'll give something. I think Pittsburgh. They play the Bengals at home, 7.5 points on Fox at 425. I'll get another pick. I got the Steelers to rebound and cover. I think they'll play really well. They got the defense's best, the NFL's best defense. And they'll move to 9-0 in first time in history. Guys, it's been a great show. I've had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, JJ. We'll talk to you guys next week. Take care, everybody. Good night.
All right, Judge. What do you say, JJ?
Enjoy the Masters. Get you one, everybody.
That's right. Enjoy the Masters. Take care, guys.